everybody, and welcome to Board Game Breakfast. Today's Board Game Breakfast is here. It's a show about board games and the people who play them. It's sponsored today by Pandasaurus Games, particularly talking about the game Control, which we just played a couple weeks ago, and you can watch it live as we build a 3D block, or it blocks all over this 3D thing. I have a review coming out for it soon. You'll see that. But we're giving away 3 copies of that. This is for folks in North America. All you have to do is email us at contest@dicetower.com, and in the subject line put HAT, H-A-T. Why? Because that's the word that just popped into my head. And we'll have 3 winners. We'll announce those, and you can win a copy of Control. Alrighty, well, another week. School is starting in many places. My kids are, we homeschool our kids at home, and they're starting school this week. They're not especially thrilled about that. I am particularly thrilled, though, because we are moving into post Gen Con. So Gen Con Online happened a couple weeks ago, and now we're starting to see people gearing up for Christmas and Essen and all the board games that are coming out during that time frame. We're going to be doing something special for Essen this year. We'll be doing a lot of live plays of Essen games. If you're a publisher and you're interested in getting involved with that, please email us and let us know about that. But if you're not, you're just someone who watches, look forward to that. That will be coming at the end of October. But it is only August, and there are still many cool things that we hope to be doing this week. Let's get started. Some lists don't warrant their own video, and that's why we have this segment, Top Lists That Don't Matter, top 10 lists that don't matter. Here we go. Today, my top 10 favorite colors to play in board games. People always ask this question, and while usually I count down things from 10 to 1, I'm going to go this way from 1 to 10. So my number 1 favorite color to play, if it exists in the game, is purple. Although I'm finding out there's a lot of other people who play purple also, so this one is more problematic for me as time goes by, especially now that Mike Delicio's here and he likes to play purple also. I once had a friend who played purple because it was his wife's favorite color, and I said, what does that have to do with you? And I'm getting off track here. Number 2 is pink. I like pink. It's very rarely a player color, but the one thing I do like about pink is almost no one fights me over this one except one of my daughters. Number 3 is black. I think black just stands out. Again, this is one I don't get fought with a lot, and nowadays more and more games have black as a player color. Number 4 is white, for the same reasons. If black is a color in a game, for some reason white also is too, and sometimes you have like black, white, tan, and brown. I'd rather be black and white than tan and brown. Those colors just look boring to me. Number 5 is orange. Orange is the one color I am always confident I can grab. Very few people fight for you with orange. I'd rather be the other 4 colors first, but orange is pretty solid. Number 6 is red. Why red? Because I know people who are diehard yellow, diehard green, and diehard blue. So I pick red over those. Number 7 is green. Well, green is fine. When Sam used to be with us, he always played green, and sometimes I would try to play green just to annoy him. But since Sam's not here anymore, green it is sometimes. Number 8 is blue. Blue, I don't really care about what color I am. So blue if blue's there. Number 9 is yellow, because that's Z's color, so Z likes to play yellow. So I very rarely take yellow, but when Z's not around, I'll take yellow instead. Number 10 is brown, because that's what you take when there's nothing left. And is there anything else? Tan, but I went through pretty much all the basic colors. So those are my favorite colors to play. I'm sure that was fascinating. Let's keep going.
Everybody, I'm Starla.
I'm it.
And we are
our Friendliest Games. Yeah.
And today we're going to show you another one of our favorite family games.
Yeah. Century Spice Road from Plan B Games, part of a trilogy.
Now, Century Spice Road plays 2 to 5 players.
Yeah.
And in this game, you are a spice merchant.
Yay.
You are collecting spices, trading spices, and you get a chance to work with some of the best spices out there.
Yeah.
You've got your turmeric, your saffron, your cardamom, and your cinnamon. And you collect these spices in your caravan. You can keep up to 10 spices in your caravan, and when you get those spices, You trade them for point cards.
Now you can do 4 things on your turn. 1, you can play a card from your hand, or you can get a card and acquire one of these merchant cards. You can do that. Now, the third thing you can do, all the cards you previously played, you can have a rest and bring them back into your hand. And on the fourth thing you can do, you can get one of these beautiful looking point cards. Now, when you get a point card, you have 2 options to get some gold or silver. Now, the gold at the end is an extra 3 points, and the silver right next to it is an extra 1 point, and that's really cool.
This is an awesome game.
Great
Some
gateway.
said it was
Great
a
gateway.
Splendor killer, but it's not.
Yes.
You can have
Yes.
Splendor and Century Spice Road in your collection, and they're both great to play.
Yes, these are family games,
They
and like
are.
I said, it's a great gateway game.
Yes.
So you got to get it because our family loves it.
So that's pretty much it.
That's it. That's it.
All right. See you next time.
All
Bye,
right.
everybody.
Hi everybody,
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
from Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
All right, well, today we're going to be talking about Cross Clues. This is a full cooperative game. It's all about combining 2 words together, trying to give a coordinate. It's by Blue Orange Games. We've had a lot of fun with it. But first, we'd like to talk about what we're doing to try to achieve better health. One of the things that I have done this past week is dust off my Fitbit. I have not been wearing it for a little while for 2020 reasons, and dusting it off has really opened my eyes to some of my stagnant habits that I've kind of re-picked up, and it's a great way to track yourself. So if you have a Fitbit or a pedometer or any of that kind of stuff, I suggest strapping it back on if you've been neglecting it, and it's good to see where you're at.
Like Ryan said, Cross Clues has this grid, so there's words on the top and words on the side, and you're trying to get people to guess the coordinates of the card that you have in your hand. So you'll have a card and it'll say something like C2, and you're trying to get people to guess where that intersects by giving them a 1-word clue about both of those words.
Yeah, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. The game that you're going to compare this the most to is Codenames. And I think for at least some groups, this could be a Codenames killer. For one thing, it's cooperative, and for another reason, it's super fast. There's even a timer that you can use that makes it either 5 minutes or 10 minutes long games, depending on how big of a board you use. And gosh, we've been having a ton of fun with this game.
I still love you, Codenames. If you like word games and if you like party games, you will like this game. You'll like it. You'll really enjoy it. I would definitely check it out if that is where your interests intersect. Because of the grid. Oh my gosh.
It's kismet.
Okay. But everybody, if you want to hear more from us, you can always find us on Facebook or YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews. Everybody, this is Ryan. I'm Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast. Bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Well, this week I had a chance to take a look at the second season of Umbrella Academy. I really enjoyed the first season. I was a fan of the graphic novels, or comic books, I guess. I read them as graphic novels. Although the first season deviated quite a bit from the comics, and the second season completely so. But I just recently went back and read the comics again, and I thought, TV show does a better job. It's more cohesive, more coherent. The comics are fairly incoherent, and if you're not careful, they're very easy to miss a lot of what's going on in them. That being said, the second season of Umbrella Academy, I think, is superior to the first season. I really like the first season, introduced the characters. The second season introduces all the characters again in different ways. It's not a big surprise here. I'm not going to spoil the second season, but they do, in the beginning of the season, they jump back in time into the 60s, and there's a lot of stuff going around John F. Kennedy's assassination, and that's like a focal point of what's going on in that time frame. Also with the segregation issues, there's a lot of different issues that they deal with as part of that time period. The special effects are pretty cool. There is like major action sequences. And I have to say, overall, I was really happy with it for several reasons. One, there are several main characters in this storyline, 7 of the different the kids, the Umbrella Academy, and they do a good job at giving a spotlight on all of them, but never to the point where when it went to one of them, I was like, stop with this person already. Let's get back to the more interesting ones. I mean, I think some were inherently more interesting than the others, but they all had their moments. They all had a moment to shine, or not shine, as it be, and they introduced a few new really compelling characters. Now, one of my favorite things about Umbrella Academy is the soundtrack itself. I think the soundtrack is phenomenal. I don't know what it is, but the songs they pick for fight sequences get burned in my head. I often find myself going to Spotify and adding new songs to my playlist as just, because of the Umbrella Academy. But the finale for this season did a good job at wrapping up the storylines for the season and setting up for the next one in a way that there was a moment here where I was like, yes, sure, this Deus Ex Machina type thing that I've seen actually in TV shows and movies before, but I didn't mind. The whole show has this kind of silly quality to it anyway. It has a lot of serious moments. It deals with a lot of serious issues, but at the end of the day, there's also a lot of silliness and fun in it. And it meets all those qualities pretty well across the board. I could see some people not liking it as much as the first season because it's not new and different like the first season was. And my two favorite characters from the first season, well, one of them is barely in the second season and the other one's not, for reasons of spoiler. But they introduce new characters to take their place, and I find that sort of thing interesting. So, yes, there is the messiness. This game involves, this TV show involves time travel, and with time travel, there's always inherent messiness. You just can't do time travel perfectly, but I've just gotten over that sort of thing. So, very entertaining, a lot of fun, and I'll probably rewatch it at some point. So that's Umbrella Academy Season 2. Thumbs up for me.
Hi everyone, my name is David, and today I would like to show you all how I've been playing Ink and Gold with my friends through video chat. It's also called Diamond in other markets, but the method I'm showing you today should work regardless. In the game, you are pushing your luck as you try and snag the most treasure while avoiding deadly hazards. I won't go into the full rules, but you can easily look them up online elsewhere. For this method, the person running the game will need the treasure and hazard cards, the gems, and to position their camera in a top-down view like I have here. Everyone else will need to appear on camera and have a way to keep track of their points, like a pen and paper or on a computer. So let's assume we have an 8-player game and we flip over the top card. I find it best to verbalize everything that's happening. So for example, with 13, that means everybody will get 1 point. So round 1, everybody gets 1, and then 5 will remain on the table, like so. To vote, I do a thumbs up to stay or a thumbs down to leave on the count of 3. So for example, 1, 2, 3. And essentially the game just proceeds from there. When people leave, just like before, it helps to be clear about any changes on the board. So let's assume 3 people leave. I would remove 3 gems from the table, and everybody who left gets 1 point. So they have a total of 2 that they keep, and they are out for the round. And here's an example of what it might look like on Zoom. I find it helped to put the hazards on top just to save some screen real estate. And you can also take advantage of some of the program features, like using the chat to vote, for example. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below, or you can hit me up at 3Point Dice on Twitter. I have some other games that I've played like this that I would love to share with you all. So I will see you all next time. Bye.
Hey y'all, welcome back. Today I have another educational game to share with you. Today I'm going to be talking about the game Math Dice Junior. Math Dice Junior is a really great way for you to review addition and subtraction with your kids, and I find that it works well for a variety of ages. It's really easy to tweak the game to make it a little bit simpler for younger kids, and there's ways that you can make it a little bit more challenging for older children. So in Math Dice, you are going to go ahead and spread out your game board, choose what color game token you'd like to be, and then the first player is going to start their turn by rolling the 12-sided die, which will give you a number. Once you have a number from the white die, then you're going to roll the 5 color dice, and you are going to try to make a math equation using those numbers. But here's the thing, the more dice that you use, the more spaces you can move on the board. So for example, if your target number was 5, then if you had the 3 and the 2, you could say 3 plus 2 equals 5, and then you would be able to move 2 spaces on the board. But if you saw 2 4s and a 3, then you could also say 8 minus 3 equals 5, and then you could move 3 spaces on the board. So depending on how complicated and complex you make your math problem, and how many dice that you're able to use, that is how many spaces you can progress on the board. So after you've completed your turn, play continues, and the first person to cross the finish line is the winner. I think that Math Dice is especially a great game for kids ages kindergarten through maybe 3rd grade. Is probably like your target age for this game. So definitely check out Math Dice Junior if you're looking for a fun addition and subtraction game for younger kids. If you'd like to see more homeschool related content, be sure to check out my YouTube channel called To Cultivate, and I'll be back next time with another educational game. Enjoy the rest of Board Game Breakfast.
So what's coming from the Dice Tower this week? Well, I'll be taking a look at several games. I'll be taking a look at Margraves of Valeria, of Four Gardens here, the new Scooby-Doo Betrayal, and several other games, which I can see in a pile there. In fact, I'll be taking a look at the new Sheriff of Nottingham and comparing it to the older one, the 1st edition and the 2nd edition, and just so you can see what the differences are between those. Me, Mike DeLisio, and Z Garcia will be doing our top 10 games from Mayfair. Mayfair is a company that is out of business. It no longer exists, so this will probably be the last time I do a top 10 on the different games from that company. So hopefully you join us this Thursday for that. We got live plays coming this week. There's various things coming, so keep an eye to what's going to show up on the Dice Tower. Our daily chats have ended. We no longer be doing those at night, but we will be doing occasional live plays of games in our 9 o'clock slot. There's not going to be a necessarily set schedule for that, but you'll see those occasionally, so keep an eye out for those on our schedule. All right, let's keep going.
Welcome to Survey Says, where we survey you listeners and we discuss the results. We are the Board Game Weekenders. I'm Steven.
And I'm Colby. In this week's episode, we asked, how do you usually determine first player?
The highest with 23 votes for randomly determined, which this is, at least for me, what I was expecting to be the highest. This is what I voted. Probably this was yours too, I was guessing.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, we have a nice, what's the app called? Actually, you have a different one than me.
I have one. I have one called First Player, and then we also use one called Schwazi, which I hear around in gaming circles.
Yeah, and other people use like other ways to determine randomly who goes first besides an app too. Like you can do dice rolls, you can do rock, paper, scissors. Exactly. You can kind of be a group kind of identity that you can have for how you determine it, which that makes it fun too. Or drop a meeple, there's like all kinds of stuff you can do. So it just works really well for that.
Youngest player goes first, oldest player goes first. Like I could see in like a family group, maybe you do that, let the youngest one go.
Yeah.
But I wanted to, how the rules state. I am surprised that 16 people said that. Simply
that's a high percentage.
One of the games that I recently played that kind of had a ridiculous way to determine first player was Santa Monica, which was the last player at the beach. And I mean, those are fun for like, a little bit of a
one time
theme,
maybe. Thanks for checking out this week's episode. Let us know your thoughts on the results in the comments below.
look out for next week's survey on Twitter at BG Weekenders, and make sure to tune in to the next episode of Survey Says.
Hi folks, I'm Andy from Potable Gaming, and I'm here with
Jen, the very disorganized librarian tonight. So we're going to be talking about storytelling and games that we think do a good job at that. And you brought up a point about two different types of storytelling, which I hadn't even thought about. I think I'm doing, but you put it into words.
So the two different types, I think. There are games which try to tell a story through a sort of a script, so things like your Gloomhavens or your campaign games have like a story going through that you're meant to follow all the different plot events, and those are great. But there are also some games you play which the act of playing them, the things you do and the thematic ties make you tell your own story. So I was playing today Caverna. I wasn't playing Gloomhaven, no, playing Caverna, which, while playing it really mechanically gets you better scores, playing it like a story and seeing the life unfold for the dwarfs that you have, and I'm building this particular room because I've now got these sheep outside, and that's nice, and that's how we do it. And I get more invested and really driven into that, really into that kind of thing, which is this kind of storytelling I wasn't expecting. And I think a game that does both, because I think we're going to both bring up some games. I mean, what do you think about that before we do that?
I feel like every time we play Stone Age, that for us, you got you're growing your family there and your tribe of people, you're hanging out with, and you're going out, gold digging, and you're going out to the woods and maybe shooting a bear. And I feel like we always have a story, and we have lots of laughs too over like the sequence of events that we've talked about. And you're bringing up too, like somewhat dryish Euros that don't necessarily have that story built into them already. So what are some games that you think do a great job at storytelling, that the story's already built in and you find captivating?
So I think one of the best is, I'm going to put this on as an example. Here's one I prepared earlier. Waste and Express Delivery Service. So this is one that does both of the things that I kind of mentioned as well. Both of the things I mentioned as well. I realized I was off camera when I said that. Like it out of the box has I think a 10-game campaign mode where you have the different variable setups and character choices and things. But without that, the game is just chock full of theme. The design's really good. The design's from a comic book artist who is the reason I bought the game to begin with.
That art.
So good. So good. So what is your game of choice?
I thought about a couple, and I pulled out Forgotten Waters.
Okay.
So there's so much that we've been digging about Forgotten Waters. So we each picked a couple of characters, and it comes with these sheets where you're doing some character creation, and it's really fun. One of the ones that I picked was Brazen Brianna. Cat. So yes, more stereotypes, folks. More stereotypes. So where can people find you?
So I can be found primarily on Instagram at Potable Gaming. I'm also on Board Game Breakfast. I do have a YouTube channel, but I haven't put anything on but my Board Game Breakfast segments. But I might put more on. Who knows?
All right, folks. We'll see you next time.
Catch you later.
A week and a half ago, I did a review of Pendulum, the new hot game from Stonemaier Games. Now, my review was not negative, really, by any means. It was a 6.5 out of 10, which is the kind of game where I'm like, it's not bad, but not one I'm really looking forward to play. I did offer some criticisms of the game, and compared to a lot of hype that often comes out with these games, Mr. Stegmaier says he hates the word hype when it's used in a review, but well, what can you do? He's the man who generates it. He's going to have to deal with us talking about hype. But compared with the hype, my review looked negative, but it was not. But I did notice whenever this review was slightly negative, I've done fairly negative reviews before, and there's always a subsection of people who come in and they kind of like applaud and they're like, yes, finally an honest review. And on one hand, you're like, yeah, you're right. Yeah, everyone else is praising this game, and I'm not. I'm standing up. But here's the thing. I do not understand why being negative about a game is looked at as inherently honest, but being positive about a game, you are looked at as a shill. And I'm concerned about that because when I do play a game I really like, so let's say last week we took a look at Pandemic Legacy Season 0, and I loved that game. Like, loved it. Am I more dishonest because I loved it? That's ridiculous. And so I think it's just odd that we kind of jump on people for being positive. Now, there's a lot of reviewers who are positive all the time, some of them because they don't like reviewing negative things. I get that. I don't necessarily love reviewing negative things. I find it cathartic to some degree, but I review games negatively and positively so that you have a comparison, a base to look from. You can say Tom likes these, Tom doesn't like these. Some people love the games I don't like and hate the games I like, so that helps them out either way. And I hope that my personality is dynamic enough that when you watch a review of mine, whether I like the game or not, you understand if you'll like the game or not. And when you write a negative review or a video or a negative review, you're definitely going to take pushback, sometimes from the publisher, but most definitely from fans of the game. But there's always that group of vocal people who come in and are like, yes, say it like it is. And I'm almost like, I don't need your help here, right? Because, again, saying bad stuff about a game doesn't make you a hero. Now, don't get me wrong, I want to be honest. I just don't think being negative makes you more honest than people who are more positive. Scott Nicholson, who is someone who was a big influence on the Dice Tower when we started out, he almost never did negative reviews. His stuff was very, very positive. That's fine. That's what he did. I think the hobby needs a lot of positivity. And if you look at all my reviews, you'll note that more of them are positive than not. And even like this week, I'm going to be doing a 7 negative review video where I put 7 in the same video because I don't feel like doing 7 more negative review videos. So I kind of just put it all into one. Now, the publisher doesn't like a negative review. I don't care what they say. They don't like it. I mean, I don't necessarily agree that there's no such thing as bad press, but you know, it does bring some notice to the games, but they don't necessarily like it. If you're a fan of the game, it really does kind of stab you when people say something negative about a game you like. But I feel sometimes that there's also this schadenfreude out there where people are like, yeah, everyone else likes Wingspan, finally a negative review of it. Oh, everyone else likes Terraforming Mars, finally someone's saying what it is. Just because someone agrees with you doesn't mean their thing is truth. So I know that this is actually kind of a thing that goes against me, right? Because I do negative reviews. But it's just weird to me when I see those comments. And I kind of stand against that. If I sit here and rave about a game, and I have, and I will, because I'm going to play games that I love so very much, that's honest. And when I stand and smash on a game and dislike it, that's also honest. One isn't more honest than the other.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm not really talking about a game or even what I've got in my hand, but more of the experience of going back to a game shop, which seems like a weird thing to sort of have to talk about, but that's the world we live in. Anyway, I've not been to my local game shop, Counterculture Games in Chelmsford, for months. Normally we'd go sort of at least once a fortnight to go and play games because it was a shop and sort of an area like a board game cafe to play games, and that's not been possible. Well, they have been reopened for a while now, but I hadn't had a chance to sort of actually go and sort of experience it. Now, you go in, you have to have a mask on, so it's a bit of a weird experience. The store, which is normally full of tables and people playing games, there's no tables to play at all. But there's still plenty in the shop to actually sort of look around. There's actually more shelves to actually look at games to buy. while you're actually in there, which is quite good. There's sort of the brand new releases, like Ticket to Ride Amsterdam and stuff like that are in there, so you can have a look at them and pick those sort of things up. Anyway, I got these very sort of, I don't think you'll be able to see it on the camera, but these D&D minis, they're pre-painted and the packaging is incredibly shiny. I got these because, what better time than now to sort of play some sort of D&D or RPG style content. So painted minis, because I can't paint, are the perfect thing to go and buy. Have you found it weird going back to a game store, or are you still putting it off? I would say, apart from wearing a mask and keeping distance, it was very nicely and safely done in the store I went to. But let me know about your experience in the comment section below. And I'm Oliver East, signing out.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Doug Jr.
And I'm Doug III.
And you're watching a Fellowship of Meeples with Doug and Doug Gaming. I've been doing the game where I try to guess what people are going to play.
Yeah.
And they look at the shelves, they pick their game, I try to guess it, and I think I got 2 of them right out of all of our family members, so I stink at this game. So I thought we were done, and then we kind of realized that I haven't picked a game. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the shelves, I'm going to pick out the game that I would most enjoy playing right now. Ask me next week, it might be different. But the game that I would most enjoy playing, and we'll see how close he gets. The game that I would love to play right now is Shadows over Camelot. This is one of my favorite games. A couple of reasons. Number 1, nostalgia. But number 2, it really is a fun game, especially when you get like a high player count, like 5, 6, 7 people. Mm-hmm. And, one of you very possibly could be a traitor. And, you're playing those cards face down, but then other people are playing face down so they can get that extra card, extra white card. And it's just, I really enjoy this game. And I don't get to play it as often as I'd like because you really do need to have several people to play it.
Terraforming Mars.
Terraforming Mars. Well, that's a great game. Yeah, it is.
Or Robinson Crusoe.
Both great games. I do like them all. So, and
I know you love this game, so I don't know why I didn't think of it.
No, it changes. I mean, like I said, ask me next week, it might be a different game. But I'm looking forward to getting back together with Gaming Group, and we haven't been able to do that for a while. So, to me, this is just a great group game.
Yeah.
It's not a party game by any means, but it's just a great group game, and I just really enjoy it. So. Hopefully you've enjoyed watching me try to guess the game, and I'm glad I'm not the only one that can't get it right. For now, I'm Doug Jr.
I'm Doug III.
We'll see you next time.
You know what's back this week? It is Q&A, live Q&A. So come back and join me as I do live Q&As. I stopped doing those because of the daily chats at night, but we'll be back. We'll be answering your questions about whatever you might want as time goes by. And we got lots of other things coming up this week, so keep an eye on that. Don't forget to enter our contest for Control. Thanks for Pandasaurus for sponsoring this episode. Look, I know this is a long year for many of you, but stick with us. We have lots of content. We hope you watch and enjoy it every day. Thank you for sticking with us in 2020 so far. Have a blessed day. Until then, next time, I'm Tom Vasel, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vasel and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.